The Denver Broncos officially started training camp today with rookies reporting, but there are 5 major questions that have to be answered before they really get going down at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. What are they? I'll tell you coming up next. All right, Broncos country, it's here. We finally made it through, feels like summer, but still got some summer months to go. But we finally made it back to Broncos training camp. Rookies reported today. Veterans will do the same in 6 days from right now. And I want to talk about 5 questions I still have. I think you guys are probably kicking it around at your bar stools or basements, wherever you're watching and talking sports about these Denver Broncos. And we're going to start with one of the bigger ones that's been a question really going back a few years since Jerry Jeudy just turned out to be a bust, and there's still some questions about Marvin Mims. The question is, who's opposite of Courtland Sutton as wide receiver number 2? I think a lot of you are screaming right now, it's Marvin Mims. How can it not be Marvin Mims? I don't know that it's Marvin Mims. I think Marvin Mims is going to have a big role on this team if you collectively take what he's going to do as a punt returner, as a kick returner, as a wide receiver. I doubt he gets more opportunities in the backfield as Sean used him last year as a running back in some instances because they actually address the running back room. So Marvin Mims, yes, he's going to make a big impact. Is he a legitimate wide receiver number 2? I'm not quite sure I'm ready to go there. In fact, I'm going to go with wide receiver number 2 as a second-year player. It's Devon Vele. That's who I think is going to be wide receiver number 2 here. He's going to be on the field so much more than he was a year ago. I think he still had to earn some trust from Sean Payton last year, and we saw that. Didn't trust him fully to put him out on the field as often as he maybe should have. But Devon Vele in camp, I mean, we were out there broadcasting from the radio show over on The Fan, and Devon Vele was making plays almost every single day. Hell, The Drive nicknamed him one-a-day Vele, because he was making one big play a day out at training camp. And he had a couple where he's just mossing fools, going up and getting them over a DB and looking damn good doing so. So I think it's Devon Vele. Had about 40 catches, a little north of 400 yards a year ago, couple of touchdowns. I think you can ramp that up. Is he going to have 90 catches as wide receiver number 2? No, he's not. But 50, 55 as wide receiver number 2, 700 yards, something along those lines with a handful of touchdowns. That's a really, really good season for a 7th-round pick just a year ago that people wondered if he was a little bit too old to really draft, develop, and get the most of before his time would be done in the NFL. So wide receiver number 2, it's second-year player Devon Vele. And like I said, Mims gets the honorable mention, but he's just going to do so many other things on special teams and almost like little gadget plays. I don't know that I'm going to look at him as a true wide receiver number 2. Devon Vele counting a lot on that young fella. How about RB1? So from wide receiver 2 to RB1, who the heck is going to be that? Heck, RJ Harvey doesn't have a contract done yet. Jahdae Barron did get his done before rookies reported, so he's all good there as the first-round pick. But is it J.K. Dobbins or is it RJ Harvey? I don't know if you want to go off the board with a Tyler Bidet, a Jaleel McLaughlin, Audric Estime. You can if you want, but you're probably going to be wrong when we get to the final depth chart. And Jaleel McLaughlin, see you later, man. I'm done with that experiment. He doesn't even need to be on the team anymore. I'm leaning towards J.K. Dobbins. RJ Harvey's going to be drinking from a fire hose early on. He's a rookie running back, doesn't know how to pass pro just yet, like all rookie running backs, as I've mentioned before. But J.K. Dobbins is proven. He's done it at the NFL level. Go look at J.K. Dobbins' yards per carry. The dude has a 5-yard average, over 4 yards for the bulk of his career, and what he did last year in Los Angeles there as a Charger. J.K. is going to win this job in camp. J.K. is going to be the starter week 1 when they go beat the brakes off the Tennessee Titans. But what it looks like after that, your guess is as good as mine. I think RJ Harvey can close that gap every single week, more opportunities that he gets, and then ultimately be looked at as either a true split, 50-50 type of running back between JK and RJ, or RJ takes over, and then you're looking at like 60-40 with Harvey doing a little bit more because of what he can do as a receiver out of the backfield over what JK can do. So they're both going to be huge, huge pieces for Sean Payton, Bo Nix, and the offense. But to start this season, it's JK. By the end of the season, it'll be RJ leading the lead or leading in that backfield right there. But one of the biggest questions here, this will be question number 3. It stays tied there with the running backs. It's Sean Payton. Will he actually commit to running the football? We all remember the game, right? Wasn't it Thursday Night Football, holding his play sheet on top of it, run it in capital letters? Guess what he didn't do that game? Run it. He wrote himself a damn reminder and then didn't even do it. That was a big Sean Payton problem a year ago. He'd never really committed to one running back. Now, Javonte wasn't it. Audric wasn't it. Jaleel wasn't it. Tried for Tyler Bidet before he got banged up in that, was it the Jets game? He hurt his back and then had to miss a handful of weeks. He actually ended up staying the night in a hospital there in New York. None of those guys took the ball and ran with it literally or figuratively. So Sean was stuck in this hard, tough spot of, do I just go all in with the Javonte Williams, who can't get more than 3 yards? Do I go all in with Jaleel McLaughlin, who can't break one tackle? Those were tough spots for the coach to be in, but I'm nervous that Sean Payton just doesn't want to run the football. He wants to chuck that thing all over the field. That's who he is as a play caller. He was a quarterback in his time playing. He wants to highlight the passing game. He's good at it, but you can't ignore the running game the way he did a year ago. And honestly, of my 5 questions that we're getting through here, this is the one I don't feel good about. I have the most worry for Sean Payton. Not committing to running the football. The Broncos do not have to be a run-first football team. They're not the Baltimore Ravens, right? You don't have Saquon Barkley back there like the Eagles do. But you can't ignore running the football. You become a one-trick pony, that defense is going to know exactly what you're doing. They're going to be teeing off on Bo Nix at some point throughout this season, and that's the last thing that you need to do. So of my 5 questions, can I trust Sean Payton to run the football? That's the biggest question. And I'm not ready to say yes. I'm not even close to being ready to say yes, I can trust Sean Payton. But we'll see. And I'd love for you to prove me wrong, Mr. Payton. All right, number 4. This has actually just been good football luck. The Broncos have had great luck with health, really across the board. It's a shout out to Bo Lowry. I got to say his name or Sean Payton will yell at me the next time I'm down there. Bo Lowry has changed things, and he's done a very good job keeping this team healthy. But the fact that the offensive line, now we're going into year 3 of, I know McGlinchey got banged up. Was it Powers that got banged up as well? But nothing significant. Let me knock on wood or whatever the heck I need to hope that I'm not the jinx of that. But football is a 100% injury rate sport. It's not a win, or it's not if, it's a win, you're going to get hurt. It's inevitable. So can they remain healthy across that offensive line? Fingers crossed, rabbit's feet, whatever you have to do, knocking on wood, to hope that that's the case, because there's 2 spots on this team where they lack depth. Inside linebacker and offensive line. Their body's there, but it's a bunch of unproven bodies at that position. So can the O-line stay healthy for what would be the 4th year in a row? And then last but certainly not least, we've talked about him a bunch on the radio side. I've mentioned it a few times here on the podcast. It's Evan Ingram. Can Evan Ingram be that real joker that Sean Payton promised, that George Payton got sick of talking about at some point? Now, as I've said, when I say joker and Sean Payton, you think of Jimmy Graham running all over people, getting 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns a season. I'm not quite sure that's what Evan Ingram is, but can he be a smaller version of that, like a cheaper version of that, if you will, where we're talking about 500, 600 yards, 650 yards with 5 or 6 touchdowns. And I think what Evan Ingram can really do, it's not necessarily going to show up on the box score, control the middle of that field and leave things open on the outside for guys like Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin with speed, and then Court on that other side will win all of your one-on-one matchups if he gets it. So those are my 5 questions. Love to know your answers to those questions while you're here. Comment, leave your answers there. I'll try to circle back and read your comments. Like and subscribe the page, everything we're doing here at Denver Sports YouTube. And then next week, I'm going to do this same version of a show, just with the defensive questions that I have for the Denver Broncos. And by the time we get to that, I'll be spending my days down at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, taking in every single training camp practice. So we'll have so much to break down right here on the podcast. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.